Pregame.com.
Pregame.tv. I am Brady Kannon alongside my good friend Vegas Runner, bringing it to you on a Tuesday, talking a little World Series, talking a little college football, and now we get to the big daddy, the primetime NFL game of the week. VR is going to talk a little Indianapolis Colts and Houston Texans, both teams coming off of a bye. What do you think, my friend?
Here's the thing, man. I love primetime games. There's a lot of bettors that, even sharp bettors, professional bettors, that say, you know, I kind of like to stay away from primetime games.
Sure.
Those are public games. Personally, I want them to be public games. I think that's when you get the most value. Whenever a market's saturated with an influx of unsophisticated money, that's when you get your greatest edge.
Sure.
So for me, I've made some of my biggest bets on primetime. And not to tout myself, but the results are there. Go to the site, you'll see. When it comes to primetime games, I've been on point. In this matchup, listen, I was high on Indianapolis. Last year, when all the math guys were saying this is the worst 11-5 team in the history of the NFL, the stats, the advanced metrics, all that good stuff reflects a 8-8 football team, I said, bullshit. You know what? This is a team with a rookie quarterback. They're young, and the stats aren't going to reflect them being able to win a football game. They're getting it done.
Right.
This year, with good free agency, with a year under their belt, I thought the stats were going to catch up with the record. And that's what they've done, you know, sitting at 5-2. So I respect Indy. And when all the wise guys and all the sharps were fading them last year, there were some bettors I love and respect that were sitting back and saying, let your buddies shoot that line up, and I'm going to come in and grab all that money with Indianapolis, all that extra points. This year, I think the market's caught up a little bit with them. And it shows by them being, you know, a 500 team ATS, one game above 500 against the spread. You're not getting rich betting Indy this year. You're not getting rich betting Houston this year. You're 1-6 ATS, but it's a 16-game season. And when you stop and look, before the season started, Houston was projected to win 10 games. On paper, this is a good football team.
Yes.
Now they're catching 2.5 points, and may get to that key number of 3. I always buy on and off the 3 if I could get it at a good discount, and on and off the 7. I really believe, as much as I respect Indy, I truly believe the wrong team's favored here. On a neutral field, I make Indy at most 1.5, 2 points better than Houston. At home field advantage, Houston should be a 1.5 point favorite.
I don't disagree with you. I think they have caught some really bad breaks this year. Matt Schaub has been a disaster throwing interceptions, and that'll turn a score around. That'll turn wins and losses around in a hurry. But if you look at the stats, they've out-yarded most of the teams they've played.
All but one.
There you go. Okay, I agree with you. This is a good team. Now you catch them at home, off of a bye, trying to get their act together. They make Case Keenum the starter. It'll be interesting what Kubiak has in store for this club on Sunday. Why don't you go ahead and make it official?
Huge primetime Sunday night football matchup. Listen, the books took such a beating last Sunday with all those favorites and over. If you look at this week's lines, they're really trying to protect themselves. They actually started with it on Monday Night Football by making Seattle a 14-point road favorite. Really? A 14-point road favorite? Anyway, back to Sunday Night Football. Once again, we're looking at an inflated price, a mispricing based on injuries, based on questionable status of Foster and Tate, based on the fact Cushing is lost for the season. Listen, all these guys, as valuable as they are, aren't worth the amount of points that this line has gotten to compared to what it really should be, because Houston should be favored in this game. Last season, when these two teams met in Houston, in December, mind you, we already knew Indy was a good team in December. It's not like they played in September when no one knew anything about Indy and how they were going to do last year. They played in December in Houston. Houston was a 10.5 point favorite, 10.5, and they covered that game. Now they're catching points at home. The best thing for a team that's hot is to keep playing football. The worst thing for a team that's hot is a bye week. The best thing for a team that's cold is a bye week. That's exactly what happened here. Indy, who's running hot, had to take a week off. Houston, running cold, gets the week off. That's the perfect storm for both these teams to come out, one to be a little flat, one to be peaking. I think Houston peaks this week on prime time, playing for pride under the lights. Take the points with Houston. You won't need them. Sprinkle that money line, baby. I love the Colts, don't get me wrong. They're not winning on Sunday.
All right, VR, I like it, man. The Indianapolis Colts, they go into their bye week fresh off of that victory over the Denver Broncos, which was awesome. And, you know, the public is reacting to Indianapolis, and I am too. Hey, they're good.
I like that team.
But I like the way you set this up where Houston, you know, a team that was, you know, leaking oil like crazy, they get to take a week off and regroup against this team that you just halted their streak when they're so hot and everybody's enamored with them. Could be a good spot to catch.
Yeah, and let's not forget, when you look at this series, the home teams won the last 6 games. When they played in Indy wins. When they play in Houston, Houston wins. This goes back years. In fact, 8 of the last 10 times, the home team wins the game. It's that kind of series. They both play indoors. They're both comfortable in their surroundings. I don't think that's going to change. And the one thing I'll tell you about Houston is this. Between now and the end of the season, and me and RJ touched on this on First Preview Monday, I think if you bet Houston, you will be up money. If you just bet every game from here to the end of the season, because of the fact they're so underpriced right now.
Yeah.
And their losses, like you said, they've outgained every opponent except one. The only one they didn't outgain was Kansas City. In a game they only lost by 1 in KC against undefeated KC. And they only lost that game by 1 point. But if you look at the rest, they outgained their opponents, but it's been turnovers. If there's one thing we know we could count on in the NFL, is that teams regress and they progress towards the mean when it comes to turnovers. I think the ball is going to start bouncing Houston's way a little bit from here on, and they're going to get some covers. You add that to the fact they're undervalued, and I think you're getting the best of it. You're getting a home dog that really shouldn't be an underdog in this game.
I like it, man. Nice work. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for us. Vegas Runner, I'm Brady Kannon. We missed you, Steve. Next up on Wednesday, they call themselves the A-Team.
The B-Team.
Can you believe that?
The B-Team. The B-Team.
It'll be Marco D'Angelo, Ken Thompson, and Brian Leonard cutting a few free picks here for you. We'll see you next time. It's pregame.tv.